Hello everyone. In this segment, we are going to learn how to join our granny squares together. So I've picked out 4 granny squares that I want to join together. There are lots of different ways of doing this. We're going to learn how to do it by using the slip stitch to join them together. So I'm going to just work with 2 at once. So let's get these out of the way. These are the 2 squares that I'm going to join together first. I've made sure that they're both right side up. I'm going to flip one of them over. So the wrong side is facing me. The right side is facing the right side of the square below. So if I flip this sandwich over, I see the wrong side facing me, the right sides facing each other. You can see the difference between the wrong side and the right side because the wrong side has more bumps at the top of these clusters. The right side, these clusters are smooth, the tops are smooth. So now that I have my sandwich the way I want it, I'm going to take my crochet hook, create a slip knot, put it on my hook. Now I'm going to find the corner of each of these squares. So the corner consists of these 2 clusters and the chain in between. I want to put my hook on the outside part of this chain stitch. So it's the outside leg of that stitch. And I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. So here's my corner clusters. Here's the chain stitch in between them. I'm going to find the outside of this edge. So this is the edge of the stitch closest to the outside. I'm going to put my hook through there. Wrap my yarn around and pull through both layers, through both squares, and then pull that same loop through the loop that's on the hook. So let's do that again. Let's find the next chain is here. I'm going to put my loop through the outside edge. And over here, here's the next chain. I'm going to do the same thing. Put it through the outside, yarn over, pull a loop through both layers, and also through the hook, the stitch that was on the hook, which is doing, actually what we're doing is a slip stitch. So I'm using the same size needle that I used to make the squares. You could change the size of this needle if you find that the seam you're making now is tighter or looser than you want it to be. This guy's a little tight. Let's see where I'm putting my hook. Through this, so here's that chain, the next one. I'm going to go through the outside edge of this chain. And the outside edge of this one. Yarn over and pull the loop through. And take the same loop and pull it through again. Okay. Let's do this one more time, and then let's take a look at what it looks like from the front. Outside edge of this chain, outside edge of that chain, yarn over, pull through both, and pull through the loop on your hook. And if I turn this over, you'll see that it's creating a nice snug seam between my two granny squares. So I'm going to keep going to the next corner, and at that point we'll join another square. So I am almost at the end of the first side of my granny squares. I have one more slip stitch to do here before I get to the middle chain stitches between this corner. So I'm going to go into the top of this chain stitch and the top of this one, make my slip stitch. Now I'm going to grab the two next sections, the two next squares that I want to join together. So I've done the same thing. I've made this little granny square sandwich with the wrong side facing up, the right side facing the granny square below, and if I turn the sandwich over, I'm going to see the wrong side facing here, right side on the inside. Now I need to find that chain in the corner between those two clusters. There's one there, and there's one there. One cluster, two clusters, here's the chain. So I'm going to go into those chains in that corner. Again, I'm going to do the outside edge of this one, the outside edge of the one below, wrap my yarn around, pull it through both layers, tighten that up a little bit, and go through the loop on your hook. So making another slip knot. So let's keep going on this edge. I'm going to go on the outside edge of the next chain stitch and the outside edge of the one below. Pull a loop through, pull that same loop through again. And I'm going to continue to do this until I get to the end of this side. And that's what they're going to look like, what's going to look like at that join between the two sandwiches of granny squares. So I've come to the end of my second side, and that's joined one edge of this granny square sandwich to the other edge of the second granny square sandwich. So now I'm going to cut my yarn, pull this loop through. Let's open this up to see what that seam looks like. So here's the seam. between these two pairs of granny squares. This part has not been seamed yet, only this line. So now I'll put my sandwich back together and do the same process, going from this corner edge all the way across to this corner edge. When I'm finished with that, then I will have a section of granny squares seamed together and ready for the next step.